What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy. Welcome back to the Savvy Show. And you guys see the thumbnail, you know what time it is. Dr. Bob came out with another animation. Your boy's hype because this one looks pretty juicy. This is SCP-4703 The Anomalous Superstore. Perfectly legal. So let's see how legal this store could be. I'm excited for this one because it seems like another one that's not, like a normal type SCP. It gives me vibes of the IKEA SCP that we covered, God, way back when I started this channel. So hopefully it's as interesting as that one, if not better. But hey, only way to find out is to dive deep, and that's what we do best on this channel. So if you guys are excited for this reaction and you do enjoy it along the way, please remember to stop by the like button and smash it for me, and also hit that bell so you don't miss an upload, and smash that sub button if you're not already part of the family. And if you're new to the channel, I make reactions like this all the time. You can check it on the channel. If you guys do enjoy my reaction style, you do enjoy the content, this will be the best place to be to get your fix of SCP heat. And now with that all out the way, there's nothing left to be said, guys. Let's get this show started. Alrighty, SCP-4703 The Anomalous Superstore. Perfectly legal. Let's see.
A woman wakes up on a bright sunny morning in Midland, Texas. It's her day off,
Texas.
And she decides she's going to use the time to take care of all the lingering errands she'd been putting off for far too long. She gets dressed, washes her hair, and prepares to pour herself a nice bowl of cereal.
Banana Pops.
But when she opens the refrigerator, she finds there's no milk. She'll need to see to that immediately.
No milk? You have nothing in that fridge. You need to pick up more than just milk, girl. Come on now.
She steps out of her front door and
surviving?
notices a paper on her doormat. She bends down to pick up the pamphlet, which advertises a new supermarket opening in town. And what do you know? There's a coupon for milk attached. What a stroke of good luck.
So
The
convenient.
woman makes her way into town, eager to check out the new grocery store. She parks her car and approaches the building, when suddenly a stranger is standing right in front of her, carrying a plate of what appear to be free samples.
What the heck?
He's dressed like a supermarket employee, but he's built like a soldier, complete with a military crew
Yeah,
cut.
don't take that sample.
He smiles and tells her that he actually works for a rival store, and points at a building across the street. He's positive that whatever she thinks she can get at this store, she can instead get at the one across the street for a lower cost and higher quality. She can't help but notice the almost unsettling desperation in the salesman's face.
Bro, what the hell, dude? No. No one hands out samples outside of a convenience store. Come on, is this Costco? Even Costco doesn't do shit like this.
Something about his spiel makes her feel like she's in danger. She politely declines his offer.
Thank you.
But he continues pitching deals and bargains at her as she makes her way into the
Yeah.
safety of the new supermarket. The clean tiles below and the buzzing fluorescent lights above seem so familiar, yet also strangely alien to her. Something about this place is just wrong. But she needs the milk, so she walks down the aisles, deeper into the store.
Alrighty.
She hears strange noises and looks over her shoulder. Was the bread aisle always behind her? She could have sworn she just came out of the meat and fish section.
The heck?
Where did they even keep the milk in this place?
It's a lot of bread.
Every so often, there's a strange noise somewhere in the store around her. It sounds almost like footsteps, but not quite. More like claws tapping on the tiles. Is she alone in here?
Bruh.
Come to think of it, she can't quite remember seeing anyone else since she came in. There's something so profoundly off about this place, but she just can't put her finger on
You
what.
saw no workers?
She takes a step forward, and suddenly the floor gives way beneath her. The
Oh,
tiles
God.
separate with the whir of mechanized gears as a trap door opens up. In an instant, she's tumbling down into darkness. As she falls, she can see the white light beaming in from above illuminate the edge of something metal and
Oh my
razor
God.
sharp. In the store above, the sound of a scream can be heard, and the soft squish of metal piercing flesh, followed by the gurgle of blood, and then the trap door closes. A tinny voice over
Bruh.
the PA system comes on and says, "Clean up on aisle 6." The woman is never seen again after that.
Just like that.
What superficially appears to be an independent supermarket
Oh
in
my
Midland,
goodness.
Texas, actually contains a number of strange and often deadly
What a
paranormal
name.
secrets, and that doesn't even stop it from being a successful and popular supermarket.
That's
But the
hilarious.
weirdest part of all? It's all perfectly legal, thank you very much. Welcome to Yeah, We're Totally Going to Sell You This, or as it's known to the SCP Foundation, SCP-4703.
Bro, that's a funny ass name for a grocery store. I probably would check it out. Just because I have that name, just to see what they're about.
The primary anomalous effects surrounding SCP-4703 affect not its customers, but the very legality of its own existence and operations. The anomalies shift laws to make everything that goes on inside legal, no matter how unethical or dangerous. It
What?
also often reshapes laws to protect its own interests from outsiders, and anyone who breaks these laws may experience spontaneous attacks from violent animals, the most common of which are vicious lions.
Reshape laws? How did they go about that?
Here are a handful of the unethical and dangerous, yet perfectly legal, thank you very much, things that go on within the confines of SCP-4703. The stacks of shelves are mounted on powerful pneumatic actuators that seem to shift and spin of their own accord. While this has the intention of keeping the store varied and stopping customers from leaving, it more often causes serious injury with its sudden movements. Occasionally, these sets of shelves will collide, crushing whatever is stuck between them. If a child becomes
That's
lost
legal?
or separated from their parents while they're inside the store, the child is forcibly detained, and the parent or parents can only get their child back by either paying an upfront cost of $47.67 in cash, or submitting to have their eyebrows permanently removed with laser follicle surgery.
Yo, lost child? Okay. What? And 2, what is this option 2? How is this legal? How do they make this legal?
There are also several dozen hidden trapdoor mechanisms beneath the floor in various parts of the building, each one triggered by some strange and arbitrary condition, such as saying the word Wednesday, or by not saying the word Wednesday. The triggers are updated each day and displayed on the store's website in several dead languages, including Latin, Koine Greek, Phoenician, and Punic. Each of these trapdoors drops into deep shafts filled with some kind of hazard, such as spikes, glitter, or poisonous snakes.
Oh my goodness. Glitter?
Yes, that's poisonous, not venomous. The snakes are only dangerous when eaten, but victims have reported that they seem incredibly appealing, which makes resisting them rather difficult.
Wow.
A section on the far side of the store is marked Starving for Savings and Discounts ad Bestias, where all the products are fenced off and also marked down by 70% or more. However, the products are guarded by no less than 15 hungry lions.
Oh my goodness.
Store-branded fishing rods, telescopic grabbing mechanisms, and drones are available to rent for the explicit purpose of retrieving items remotely. Although this will result in far higher costs, so you will have to brave the lions in order to attain those incredible deals.
Just for those deals, you want to risk your own life. Okay, now hearing all this, it makes it seem like the dude that had the samples in the beginning was trying to save the girl. Which, if that was the case, why would he be sweating or acting some type of way? Like, he should have actually went about that a whole different route. He should have just been straight up like, yo, this store is not what it seems. Like, yo, like, if you just want milk, come get it here. This place is normal. Like, I mean, the way he was acting, it was just made it seem fishy.
There's also a roughly 5% chance that after checkout, your cashier will ask you to kiss them on the lips. If you refuse, they'll burn your purchases in front of you, and you won't receive a refund. If you do kiss them, there's a 1 in 3 chance that the cashier will have an anomalous toxin on their lips that will cause you to drop dead instantly.
1 to 3.
And every day, at an arbitrary time between the hours of 3 p.m. and closing time, the lions will be released from the discount section to roam the store, and only 2 checkout lines will remain open.
Oh my god.
All items will be free during this period, but they must be scanned one by one.
Oh yeah?
The SCP Foundation is
With only
currently
2
exploring
MP.
links between SCP-4703 and 2 other anomalies like SCP-2030 and SCP-1459, the former being the cursed hidden camera show Laugh is Fun,
That's the fun
and the
one.
latter being a nightmarish vending machine that murders puppies and dispenses a variety of cookies in exchange.
Haven't seen that one.
So then, if it is so dangerous, why doesn't the SCP Foundation simply block access to, yeah, we're totally going to sell you this?
Because it's legal?
Unfortunately, thanks to the anomalous legal effect created by SCP-4703, the Foundation can't just storm in or physically contain the building. So instead, they attempt to divert as many customers away from 4703 as possible.
Oh.
To do this, the Foundation has started a rival supermarket across the street, named Super Competitive Prices LLC.
So that dude was an SCP agent with the samples. Okay, wait, why do they need to break the law for them to come handle SCPs? I was always under the presumption that if they find an SCP, they have to try to contain it, no matter if it's breaking the law or if it's not breaking the law. Because there's a lot of normal SCPs not breaking any laws, and they just, contain it. Normal SCPs are the ones that are not, dangerous. But,
Sheldon M. Katz Esquire is an SCP Foundation lawyer and bureaucromancer, a thaumatologist skilled in the art of interfacing with anomalously bureaucratic SCPs.
Okay.
And he is spearheading the Foundation legal team's efforts into combating SCP-4703. Untangling the complex web of legality around SCP-4703 is a full-time job after all. And in the following memo, Mr. Katz did all he could to articulate the sheer enormity of the problem they're dealing with. He writes, "Counteraction of SCP-4703's legal anomalies is a top-level priority for our department. and we are making every effort to resolve the matter in a way which minimizes loss of life and economic detriment. We have received a significant number of inquiries regarding the mechanism of SCP-4703's indisputable legality. Unfortunately, there are no easy answers. Law is a human concept. It exists on paper because we write it down. It exists in practice because we enforce it. Generally, we interpret and exercise the law through the scrutiny of semantics, intent, and precedent. Yet, bureaucratic hazards such as SCP-4703 are not necessarily predicated on such things. In fact, the law as most know it has very little to do with the matter. While it's not a perfect comparison, one could say that baseline law is to anomalous law as arithmetic is to algebra. Both are recognized as mathematics, but the latter is more abstract. Imagine that Timmy and Sally each have 2 apples. If Timmy gives Sally his apples, then Sally should end up with 4.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. She has 10. How can this be? Sally recounts the apples and reenacts the scenario over and over, but there is no mistake.
What?
2 and 2 make 10. It is an incontrovertible fact. You see, even if anomalies are irrational, they are factual, and it is essential that one accepts this if they wish to develop a countervailing methodology. Once Sally accepts that her 4 apples have become 10, she reevaluates her radix and decides to recount the apples in base 4. Suddenly, the 10 apples are 10 apples. 10 is 4 in base 4, which is the appropriate number of apples. Eureka! Sally collects another 4 apples, bringing the total to 20, which is 20, which is 8, which confirms that her new paradigm aligns with the abnormality. Form follows function according to the function of the form, and at last, everything makes sense.
That's
Except none of it
interesting.
does, really. A well-behaved reality oughtn't conflate the concrete with the abstract. If you initially perceived a countable sum of 10 apples in base 10, then the equivalent number of apples in base 4 should be 22, since it stands to reason that changing your subjective view of an outcome oughtn't alter the physical materials in the equation. However, we live in a very naughty reality, which may, on a whim, allow a young girl to wield apples unbeholden to thermodynamics. This explanation is inadequate, of course, but hopefully it goes a small way toward helping you understand why the legal department is currently occupied with a comprehensive redrafting of Texas corporate law in a quaternary semiological system.
But still, even if that was the case, which it seems like in this canon, but there's no canon obviously, just in this story, the SCP should be above the law. Wouldn't they be? Wouldn't they be able to just go in there and do what they need to do if it's a SCP? I don't understand why they have to go by the law just because it's the law. There's so many times they're breaking laws to get this SCP that was doing no harm. You know?
This in itself would be an exceptional feat, even for the most skilled of bureaucromancers, and it is further compounded by the necessary incorporation of contingency clauses against the self-aware fact patterns that keep legitimizing rabid lions into existence inside my goddamn bathroom. We are grateful to you, our valued colleagues, for your patience and cooperation as we work together toward a solution. The Foundation is currently conducting a 3-pronged attack against the forces of SCP-4703, the first being the Super Competitive Prices LLC competitive store. The second is the tireless efforts of Mr. Katz and his team against the trifling legal issues of SCP-4703, and the third is outright infiltration and espionage. Of course, when you're going behind enemy lines, it's crucial that the proper operative is selected for the job. It can't just be anyone dropped into a high-pressure situation like this, especially considering the rapidly evolving nature of SCP-4703's conditions. The SCP Foundation was more than aware that they might only get one shot at getting one of their own in and out of the building. For this task, they selected Field Agent Felicity Blandina, codename
What a name.
Karen of Justice.
Karen!
Blandina was uniquely qualified for a job like this.
Oh my goodness.
In personality tests conducted on all Foundation agents to test loyalty, they consistently found Blandina to be one of the most obtuse and shameless agents on the Foundation payroll. During group lunches with other staff members, she has been reported numerous times sending meals back to the kitchen when she felt they were unsatisfactory.
Karen.
And Foundation cyber analysts have detected multiple posts on various social media networks made by her, directly tagging and criticizing brands that provided products or services she perceived as being subpar. While these qualities made her a terror to the customer service staff in her local area, they made her the ideal candidate for bypassing the bureaucratic stronghold of SCP-4703. If anyone could do it, it would be Field Agent Felicity Blandina. She was sent into the building with an expired coupon under the pretense of being an unhappy customer. She spoke to a sales assistant inside the store named Daniel Paulson, who explained to her that her coupon was denied because it was only applicable when the recipient submitted to ritual castration performed by the SCP-4703 staff. Seeing as Agent Blandina didn't have the necessary equipment to undergo such a procedure, Paulson generously offered to provide her with a free surgery to have the proper parts attached, though finding a suitable donor would likely take several months. Agent Blandina, following her well-trained Foundation directives, could not be assuaged by the bargain. Instead, she pressed on, first guilt-tripping him with sob stories about her children, then her lifelong struggles with astigmatism, and even threatening Paulson with physical violence.
Oh my God.
Eventually, she delivered the true coup de grace, demanding to speak to the manager. Showing clear reluctance, Paulson agreed and led Agent Blandina to a door near the front of the store. It opened up into an unlit staircase that descended into the darkness below. At the bottom, they found a break room that appeared similar to a bunkhouse in a prisoner of war camp, containing hammock after hammock filled with uncomfortable sleeping employees.
For the workers?
Paulson informed Agent Blandina that some of the people who work at the store were once normal civilians who'd been exploited with a number of legal loopholes, and now lived inside the store full-time. Some, for example, had stayed in past closing time, which had resulted in them becoming store property for a minimum of a year. Paulson himself had entered a raffle for an abs transplant, and instead won servitude at SCP-4703, which he couldn't legally turn down thanks to the powerful anomalous laws of the store. As Paulson and Agent Blandina ventured deeper into the bowels of the staff area, they passed 11 unmarked doors, before finally stopping in front of the 12th and last one. She opened the door and discovered shelves and stacked boxes within. Agent Blandina expressed incredulity at the idea that the store's manager would be kept inside of a supply closet in the basement, but Paulson insisted that this was indeed the manager's office, and as he did, he pulled a string connected to the ceiling. This caused a wall of boxes to split down the middle like a secret doorway, revealing a large executive chair facing the wall on the other side of the room. Still maintaining the cover story that she just wanted a discount, Agent Blandina pressed on and approached the chair. She spun it around to get a better look at the manager, and found herself standing in front of a desiccated corpse, with no eyes and all of his teeth pulled out, his mouth wrenched open in a permanent, silent scream of terror. Paulson identified this man as Mr. Venatio Haruspice, the manager of SCP-4703.
What?
Paulson would have told Agent Blandina that his boss was a corpse earlier, but to do so was against the rules. Agent Blandina sighed and grumbled, "I feel like I should have expected this." Paulson assured Agent Blandina that she could still make her complaint, though, and the owner of the store would eventually hear it.
How?
As Paulson understood it, the body known as the manager acted almost like a kind of telephone, sending messages through to the owner. The owner would then reply through faxed messages hidden inside the cereal boxes that acted as the only food source of the staff trapped within.
Wow.
This Kafka-esque nightmare just kept getting worse and worse, but Agent Blandina refused to give up that easily.
It would work, though.
Agent Blandina asked him to explain the exact nature of the manager's condition to her. Paulson replied, "I know that he's legally our manager. I know that he's, well, what he is. I know that one of us always has to kiss him goodnight at closing time. I know that if we tell him something, the owner knows, but the owner seems to know everything that happens here anyway, so I can't be certain that's related. What else? I know that he's empty, or hollow. Actually, hollow's probably a better word." Agent Blandina leaned in a little further to see what exactly Paulson meant by that, only to make a horrifying discovery. The manager wasn't a whole corpse. He was just desiccated skin, a husk somehow propped up into the shape of a corpse.
Wow.
When Agent Blandina asked why Paulson specified hollow and not empty, he told her that it was because a noise was sometimes heard emanating from within the skin husk. Agent Blandina wisely refused to put her ear anywhere near the manager's gaping, toothless mouth, and instead fed the hidden microphone she had been wearing down into the husk's throat. Before Paulson had time to remark on the strangeness of this, sirens and alarms began going off all around them. Paulson began to panic, yelling that the lions were incoming, and the duo needed to move quickly to get out of harm's way. Luckily, Agent Blandina was able to escape with only minor injuries. But shortly after her escape, SCP-4703's legality was once again restructured to make it illegal for non-employees to enter the employee-only areas.
Dang.
The audio that Agent Blandina recorded inside the body of the manager was also analyzed by experts at the Foundation, and they discovered that, when sped up by 75%, the sound was indistinguishable from human laughter. Due to the highly strange nature of this anomaly and its containment procedures, even by SCP Foundation standards, the classes and designations applied to SCP-4703 are equally strange and complex. Knowledge of the file and the anomaly itself is relatively low tier, with restricted Level 2 access permissions. Due to the immense difficulty in keeping SCP-4703 hidden or contained, thanks to its unique legal situation, it has been given the object class Keter. This, however, is where things get even stranger.
Let's see.
The SCP-4703 store has a rare secondary object class, truculent.
What?
This classification is likely to be unfamiliar to most, but it is used in the specific situation when an item is unpredictable and often transformative.
Did they just
And
make
containment
that
measures around it must be
within their law?
consistently updated and evolved in order to meet its containment needs. It has the Level 3 or Kennic disruption class, meaning that it has a
God.
roughly medium potential to cause disruption, though this disruption is likely to be confined to a relatively local area. And finally, it has the Risk class Warning, meaning that it presents a high risk to all who interact with it, complete with the possibility of causing severe harm, including death. Though legally, due to a missive sent from the law firm working in association with SCP-4703, I am obliged to tell you that it's mainly because the bargains at "yeah, we're totally going to sell you this" are simply to die for, which is perfectly legal, thank you very much.
Oh my god.
Now go and watch
dude.
another entry from the classified files of Dr. Bob, such as SCP-5172, North American Hotel Ice
Let's see
Machines,
Dr. Bob
for
get
another SCP that will make you think twice about visiting
Oh,
common
kill him.
everyday locations.
That's easy.
And make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single anomaly as we delve further
Oh.
and further into the SCP
paid
Foundation's
for
classified
it.
archives.
Dr. Bob got the bags on him. Yo, okay. That was pretty clean at the end. He got me there. But, bro, this SCP was way more than I expected. We never seen one like this. At least for me. I haven't reacted to any SCP similar to this one. Wow. So basically, legally, the SCP Foundation really can't just go in there and blow it up. They have to follow the laws. This is the first time I ever witnessed a SCP move in a way they're moving like this. Like, I always thought the SCP Foundation is above the law. That's why they are the SCP Foundation. They come in, they do what they gotta do, they get out, and they wipe everyone's minds if they have to. So seeing this kind of story of SCP really made me question how far the SCP could actually go with other anomalies such as this. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this reaction, please remember to smash that like button, and also let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought about this SCP, because yo, this one took me off for a ride, and I want to know if you guys felt the same. And also remember to smash that sub button and hit that bell so you don't miss an upload. And now unfortunately that concludes today's episode. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one.